we were wrong. I predicted that they would lose to LaSalle number one. I was
Right, right,
totally
yeah.
wrong.
Hmm.
So that game, I think they played it perfectly, if you ask me.
Oh yeah.
So just to recap, it was pretty tight in the first half, and then they pulled away in the third. That
Hmm.
was it.
Yeah.
But that third quarter hit, and you can see what the gap is between Ateneo and LaSalle at that point.
Right.
So at first I thought Cortez and Baclaan would break down the defense,
Hmm.
um, and create shots for everybody.
Cortez had a bad game. He was like 3 4
Yeah, I think.
13. Yeah.
And what happened
Hmm.
really in that game, I think, was Ateneo showed why they're one of the best perimeter defending teams in the league.
Yes. Yes.
They essentially neutralized that
Hmm.
explosive backcourt.
Right.
And if what I noticed as well is that the only shot that was open to LaSalle at that point was the corner three.
Yeah.
When the defense was broken down, the only shot available, the only outside shot they were giving LaSalle was the corner three,
Corner
and
three. Yeah. Hmm.
LaSalle couldn't hit that consistently,
Hmm.
and that's kind of why they broke the game wide open, right?
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
Ateneo was executing on both ends flawlessly at this point
Yeah. Oh gosh.
at the
Yeah.
third quarter.
Hmm.
Kay Maniladi had that that shot where he just a crossover into
Yeah.
a three off the
Right.
top of the key. I was like,
Yep.
wow, he reminds me a lot of KD, really,
Yeah. Oh
with the way
yeah.
he
Yeah.
scores.
Yeah.
I
And
think
then freaking Dom Escobar, man. Yeah.
they were there was a
Dude was
point
a
where
freaking beast, man.
I don't know who he did that to, but he had a dribble move, crossover, a couple of crossovers.
Uh.
It just went straight to the hole. He was
Hmm.
just cooking, really.
Yeah.
He did the and one of the things that I really loved, and I think this is Tab Baldwin being really petty,
Hmm.
was that whoever Mason Amos was guarding was just overly aggressive with they
Yeah.
wanted to attack Mason Amos in defense, and they
Right.
did.
Right.
They really targeted him,
Yeah.
and then I feel bad for the guy. Look, um, my personal thoughts on Mason Amos is that the kid just did what he had to do. That's it. Like,
Oh
I think we're
yeah.
at that look, at the NLSL rivalry aside,
Hmm.
I think the kid just wanted to do what he wanted to do. We don't know what
Hmm.
the full reasons are, and
Right.
personally, I really don't care.
It's the same
But
with BJ Manalo during our time, you know.
I honestly was a little bit more affected by that one, to be honest. At that point,
Because the thing with Mason wasn't at that level that BJ was in high school. Because he was a superstar. He was like
yeah,
he was
BJ
supposed to be
Manalo
like
was the
the
guy. Was the
he was
guy.
supposed to be
Yeah,
the savior, right?
right.
Of the he was supposed to bring us out of the dark ages, kind of like that was what we were thinking, you know.
Yeah, he was supposed to team up with his high school teammates to form this
Yeah,
dynasty,
yeah,
and then he went to the other side. And
yeah,
look, the reaction to that. Looking back, right, the reaction to I'm talking about the community as a whole, right?
right.
It was a lot more devious, in my opinion. A lot more
Yeah.
negativity
And
with BJ at the time.
there was still no social media back then too, right?
And yeah, that's kind of like the thing,
Yeah,
right? There was no social media, and then the reaction
yeah,
was like, dude. I
yeah,
mean, look, these kids just wanted to do what they want, right?
yeah,
It's you have a choice, really, and
yeah.
I understand that there's. I don't want to use the term loyalty in college sports
Mm-mm.
because that kind of gets thrown around with the UAAP a
It
lot
does.
because
Yeah,
you have the juniors, the under 18 program, you have the under
yeah.
16 program,
Mm-hmm.
and you're kind of want to filter those talents into your main
Right,
program, right?
right.
But I really don't agree with that mindset.
Mm.
It comes back to that. I think it stems from that Filipino mentality of utang na loob.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
You know, it's like you owe me
Debt
for
of
developing
gratitude.
you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, what do you think about number one, the game, the Ateneo Lasal game first? Let's focus on that.
I mean, yeah, like you mentioned, I think they executed flawlessly. Like first 3 quarters, man. the ball movement, the system. Yeah, like you said, we've preached the gospel of Baldwin. The last few podcasts, and again, the system is working. They showed it the first 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter, something just happened where all of a sudden we all the calls were going to LaSalle, but not trying to put the blame on the officiating. It's just that they just kind of switched it up, switched gears a little bit. They came back, they got it down to 5, but credit to the Blue Eagles, the composure. They retained the composure. They didn't, let they didn't let the calls, get to their head or affect them, and sinking those crucial free throws at the end. Yeah, that was you know, I wouldn't say it was a statement game, but that was such a crucial win for us that that this is a program that's that we're content we plan to contend, and not just be in the final four. We want to win this whole thing.
I mean, I don't think it's a statement game as well, but it was
Yeah.
at least an ass whooping in the
Yeah.
process.
It was ass
They were up
whooping.
30
Yeah.
points.
Yeah.
31 points, I
They were up
believe, was the
30.
highest
Yeah.
lead.
They were up
They
30.
led
Yeah.
wire to wire in this game, and
Uh-huh.
then, which is odd for an Ateneo LaSalle game, especially in this era, right? It's just,
Right.
especially with
Mhm.
LaSalle. LaSalle is actually there was a time when Ateneo was bad, LaSalle was good,
Yeah.
or LaSalle was good and Ateneo was bad. This is a
Yeah.
time when both teams are good,
Are good. Yeah.
right? And then you don't expect a 30 piece when that happens.
Oh. Yeah.
And they were on the way, man. They were on the way to. Hey, look, I'll talk about the officiating in a bit, but they were on the way to a 40-point win, in my
Yeah.
opinion, because
Yep.
LaSalle just couldn't do jack shit, really,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yep.
Ateneo was doing whatever they wanted on offense, and then they were just clamping down on defense. LaSalle couldn't do anything. As Jacob Cortez was just struggling to create it over there, and
Right.
it just happens that the size disadvantage of the Blue Eagles inside wasn't too much of a factor.
Right.
But then, but then the refs happened really,
The rest
and
happened.
um, the momentum just shifted at towards the middle of that fourth quarter. Essentially,
Right.
they weren't. Look, we're gonna talk about UAP in a bit, but let's put some numbers. Okay, so that's prior to that game. LaSalle was averaging 21 free throw attempts. Okay?
21. Yeah.
Ateneo was averaging 19. So it was
19,
pretty
yeah.
low. Okay, it was pretty low.
Right.
And then LaSalle averaged 18 fouls against them.
Mhm.
And
Right.
Ateneo LaSalle was second in the league, only getting called for 18 fouls, and Ateneo was 1st. They were only
Right.
getting called for 14. So the numbers at the end of the game, all right,
Mhm.
LaSalle shot 45 free throws. Ateneo only 30. And I think only
You have
four of
gotta
those
be
are.
freaking kidding
So,
me.
yeah, so there are
Wow.
a lot of intentional fouls towards the end of the game because it got close. But if we remove those intentional fouls, Ateneo would have only shot 26.
Wow.
Okay? And
Yeah.
then Ateneo got called for 33 fouls, almost double their season average at that point. That's not 27.
Wow.
The at one point, I think in the first half, LaSalle had 20 free throw attempts to Ateneo's 9. And the only reason why the game was close in the first half was, in general, really, because LaSalle was just dog shit at free throws. They couldn't hit
Right.
anything.
Mm.
So they couldn't capitalize on the amount of free throw attempts that they shot,
Right.
and that's the reason why they kind of lost. And when the calls got tighter in the fourth, that's when LaSalle essentially pulled back in.
Right.
Now I'm not gonna say that that's the only reason, but when every time you touch someone, you get a foul call. I'm guessing that probably ruins your momentum, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
So
Because you get conscious, you can't play defense the way you've been playing defense. Because all of a sudden now, you're all of a sudden simple contact and they call a foul. So it ruins your momentum. Honestly,
So I dug deeper with this, and I noticed that most of the fouls that Ateneo got called for in the fourth, they led to free throws. So look, that kind of sums up that game, right?
yeah,
So there was the first three quarters were, well, not really. The first half was, if not for LaSalle missing free throws, it would have been a different ball game. But it is what it
right.
is. They beat LaSalle. They beat their arch rival, right? That's what matters. And that's the game I expected them to lose, really.
Yeah,
But then the UP game happened, and that's pretty much shattered my theory.
right,
So essentially, Ateneo lost to UP.
right.
At one point, UP was up by, I believe, 18, 19 points or something like that.
Hmm.
And the game was essentially close. It was tight, but
Right.
then again in the second half things turned really.
Yeah, third quarter specifically.
What did you notice about that UP game?
Phew, wheels came off in the third quarter. They only scored 11 points. Um, I have to take a look at the box score still, but looking at that UP game, they just showed how they just showed that they just showed why they're contenders basically.
Yeah.
It's not to say that it's not to say that they're invincible. They started 0-2 just because of chemistry issues, I think. But even then, I'm really looking for a bounce back in the second round because that was an awful third quarter for Ateneo. We kept it close the entire first half, and then that run just happened and we let it slip. So I think it's a learning it's a learning experience for the boys. Um, that well, number one, in the LaSalle game, like, you can't take your foot off the gas even if the calls aren't going your way. But in this case, UP did show why they're contenders, and we kind of dropped the ball on that, I think. So I'm looking for a bounce back in the second round. So hopefully we can see that.
Well, they're contenders because they're foreign student athletes. Probably the best, if not one
The
of the
best,
best
yeah.
ones in the league.
Hmm. Yeah.
So Nuruka in that game, I was seeing, I was seeing him do Euro
Mm.
steps. I was seeing him just knock down free throws. He was 10 of
Right.
11 from the line. He can't even judge the form. It was perfect.
Yeah.
He was just out rebounding everybody, and he was that interior presence inside. That's one of the reasons why UP is
Hmm.
gonna be contenders in this tournament right now, because
Right.
their foreign student athlete is just one of the best, really.
Yeah.
I would say that he's number two or number one,
Do you
depending on
think
what
do you
day you
think that
look at it.
he's better than Diouf? Malik Diouf
I
back in
think
the day.
offensively he is.
He is.
Right, Diouf was really tall, right, and that
Yeah.
was a big advantage for him.
Hmm.
Defensively, I think Malik Diouf is better just because of his
Yeah.
size,
Yeah.
his length and his size, really.
Right.
But this guy Noruka is much better offensively.
Naruka,
He's much more polished.
much
As
more
I
fun.
said, he was
Yeah.
doing Euro steps, man.
Yeah.
Okay, he was doing Euro steps for a guy that big. It was pretty slow, but again, the combination of his size plus that move, he was unstoppable. He scored 22
Right.
points, grabbed 9
Hmm.
rebounds. Okay, that's not a joke. And
No.
he
Hmm.
was getting all of his points came from inside, really.
Right.
And this essentially exposed Ateneo's biggest weakness
Yeah.
in this tournament right now, which is
Which
size.
is interior. Yeah. Yep.
Inside, they're weak inside, right? They're getting
Mm.
for some reason the rebounds in this game were tight. They both only did 38 rebounds
Mm.
each, but and Ateneo was great on the offensive boards. They were really hustling out there as much
Yeah.
as they could, but they just couldn't make shots inside.
No.
Really,
Yeah.
so that was the big struggle, and um, it didn't help that Ateneo stars were in early foul trouble.
Yeah.
So kay Maniladi, Jared Bahay and Divine Adili were foul trouble earlier, and I think that was probably
Yeah.
one big effect on it.
That's a huge factor, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Laddie had trouble scoring that
Yeah.
game, and
Mm.
then they kind of picked it up in the fourth. There at one point, Ateneo only scored single digits, and UP already had like 20 or something like that. It was pretty
Right.
bad in the fourth as well. That
Yeah.
that kind of a, that 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 the final score is a bit of a lie because it was
Yeah.
a lot. The gap was a lot bigger than that.
Right.
Ateneo just couldn't find itself really.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a combination of the calls, but
Mm-hmm.
I gotta give credit to UP where credit's due because they
Yes.
played with a lot more intensity.
Mm.
Okay, the way UP attacked Ateneo on defense
Mm-hmm.
is what got me. They were pressing,
Right.
they were just giving a lot of ball pressure,
Mm-hmm.
and that really slowed Ateneo down a lot. Look, I feel that they were given a better whistle in this game,
Mm-hmm.
wherein at UP was playing physical defense on the perimeter, no calls.
Right.
But then when you get inside, every play seems to be a foul in the interior
Right.
for both teams in this case.
Mm-hmm.
But UP was allowed, I believe, to play a little bit more physically on the perimeter, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what tipped the scales. UP had a lot of steals in this game. They had 10 steals,
Wow.
and a lot of them was just because of that ball pressure, really,
Coming from
and
pressure
I think they're
defense, yeah.
turning the ball over because of UP's length.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other thing that kind of got shown in here because the length of Ateneo is, yeah, it's gonna be a concern really.
Right.
So look, I expect the bounce back. This shouldn't be something for them. They're 4-1, right? They're 4-1.
Right.
But this is far from over. I think they're gonna be. I hope it's gonna be a different game in the second round. We'll see.
Right. Yeah.
Right, I want to go to the UAAP real quick. So I want to give a quick shout out to the Pilipinas Live service.
Yeah.
They're not sponsoring us, but I've been using it. I know you've
Yes.
been using
Been
it too.
using. Yes. Yep.
Look, I'll share my thoughts and let me hear yours. But well, UA, I find the UAAP coverage really odd, in my opinion. So
Mhm.
So when they start, they put the commentators outside with the cheer teams from both sides.
Right.
It's kind of a cringy situation wherein, oh, is your team gonna win? Is your team gonna win? And
Oh my gosh.
it's just, I mean,
Yeah.
who thought of that, man? It's just, why are you inserting this?
This at
I
the
want to
start
see the
because I
cheerleaders,
because I
right?
skip I skip the start and go right to the game.
I was watching the game live, so I had no choice really. It was, I think,
Oh.
I think the UAP coverage from a TV perspective, from a
Uh-huh.
broadcasting perspective, is not something that I enjoy watching. So that's number one. And the second thing that I hate about that coverage is that when they do the replays,
Uh-huh.
they have this they have this weird annoying music that's playing in the background every time they do the same music
Oh
that's playing every
yeah,
time in the
yeah,
background.
yeah.
It sounds like a country song with a harmonica on it.
Yeah.
It's just so annoying, and there's a lot of replays in this game. Okay,
Right.
they replay rebounds. Okay, because there's ads.
They replay
They
fouls.
they replay fouls for some
Yeah.
reason. And then every time they replay something, it's that annoying music that's playing in the background.
Oh gosh.
I can't
Yeah.
stand it, man. I can't stand. They gotta do better than that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But if we're talking about the UAAP game itself, what I found was, look, I think it's too slow, right?
Mm.
There's a lot of stoppages in the play,
So
which
many foul calls, yeah.
we talked about the fouls, right? It seems to be, and I don't know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but in the big games that I watched, which are
Right.
Ateneo La Salle and Ateneo UP, they seem to call it a little bit more tightly
Yeah.
than the other games.
Yeah.
You know,
100%. 100%.
right? It's like I was watching uh, the NBL, the Australian NBL,
Right.
and then I noticed the stark difference in how they call fouls. Really,
Mm-hmm.
because in the UAP you just go inside, go up, even if it's marginal
The
contact
simplest,
inside, they're gonna call
the
the foul.
simplest contact they're gonna call a foul. You know.
Right? They're gonna. It's a physical
Yeah.
game. They're supposed
Yeah.
to be physical with
Of
each other.
course. Yeah.
I
And
understand upholding the rule, but in this case, I think they kind of took it a
let
little bit too
let
seriously.
the
What do you think?
kids let the kids play, man. Let the kids play. And I've had an issue with the UAP officiating ever since we were in college, man. Like um those years when LaSalle would kind of whoop our ass in the Final Four and the championship. Like I remember like JC and Tal would go for a drive. He'd get smothered by the bigs of LaSalle. Like who they have back then. Jerwin Gako, I think, or Kabatu. Those guys, the big guys of LaSalle. He'd get smothered and they wouldn't call anything. And then meanwhile, on the other end, marginal contact, they're gonna call something. So I've always had an issue with the officiating, and even no, and you compared it to the NBL, but also if you compare to the NCAA back here, it's free flowing. They'll let the kids play, and we know for a fact that the NCAA here plays. The college kids play tougher defense than in the NBA. We've seen that, and
Yeah, yeah.
and they just let them play. They just let the contact. And if it's a foul, it's a foul. If it's a foul, if it's a if it's blatant contact, it's a foul. But again, like, it's more free flowing. They're gonna uphold the rules, but and we can just see how that difference is between the NCAA here and the UAAP there, because um and they'll call a foul on everything. Like how many free throws did LaSalle have? Like 30
45,
plus,
I think.
45 free throws,
45. Yeah.
and the non-intentional ones were like 20 something, the high 20s.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
So they committed high 20s in fouls. Yes,
so we
Ateneo was
see a
30 plus.
yeah, so we see a game that's super slowed down. We see a game that has a lot of whistles. We rarely get to see like open court basketball, which is what we want to see, which what the fans want to see.
Yeah, you mentioned the marginal calls. It kind of seems that they only call it
Mhm.
inside,
Yeah,
is what I've noticed.
in the
Because
paint. Yeah, yeah,
right, they only call it in the paint. Like
right,
someone goes up for a shot or someone goes up for a rebound.
right.
They just call the softest contact there, even if it wasn't impeding the player as much as it did.
Yeah, hmm,
And it seems that they call it very tight in the paint. But
right.
on a different side, they don't call it as much in the perimeter. That's what's frustrating to watch,
Right.
because in the in the UP game, essentially this was been highlighted. UP was playing them really tight,
Yeah,
the ball handlers once they go down the ball. But
yeah,
there's the same foul that I see them calling in the paint. They didn't call in the perimeter, and that's what's
yeah,
kind of frustrating to watch.
yeah. And a lot of times, if you press, if you do a backcourt press, there's gonna be some times when when there's gonna be some times when the intensity of the double team or the pressure is gonna, you're gonna be committing some fouls. You're gonna try to go for the steal. You're gonna, you're gonna put a hand in between the player's dribble. There's gonna be times that a foul's gonna be called, but we're not seeing that called here. Not in the
Yeah,
perimeter. Yeah,
the frustrating thing is it's just too inconsistent to watch,
yeah,
and it favors those teams who press, who play physical
yeah.
defense at the perimeter, just like what UP did essentially,
Hmm.
and then it disadvantages the rest of the guys. And
Yeah,
I just want consistency here. If you're gonna be
yeah.
tight in the paint, be tight on the perimeter as well.
Hmm.
You can't be lax on the perimeter and then call everything you see in the paint.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be, you have to, the UAAP has to draw this line. The UAP has
Mm.
to make sure that these calls are
Yeah.
are consistent, really, because it's
Right.
just as someone who's watching the game,
Hmm.
and just remove your fandom for a minute here.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating to see every play down court is a foul.
Yeah.
It's just too much, man.
It's too
It's
much.
just a slow game. I don't want to watch that. I want to watch
It's
these
not the
kids
type of that's not the type of
execute,
basketball you want to see. Yeah. Yeah.
right? And then
Yeah.
I understand that you have ads. I get that. You have to fulfill your obligations to your sponsors. But at the end of the day, it's about the game. If the game is not entertaining, where are we gonna
Yeah.
tune in, right? I
Right.
This Filipinas Live has allowed me to watch every UAAP game,
Right.
and I love it. I can
Yeah.
watch basketball anytime I want now.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of my main issues with the UAAP. Another thing is the start times, man. They
Oh.
I don't know if it's how they advertise it in on TV, but from Filipinas Live they advertise it starts in a certain time,
Right.
and then it starts so late, man. Look, um, right now New Zealand
Mm.
is about 5 hours ahead of Manila.
Right.
So, so in those late games, I gotta sleep late, and that's fine. But I was just
Yeah.
hoping these games start on time
Right.
because they're already slow as hell with the
Yeah.
fouls.
Yeah.
Let's just start this as early as we can on
Right.
time, okay, guys?
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's what it's like. It's like Filipino time in basketball, man.
It
We
is.
don't
It
want
is.
that,
We don't want
right?
that. Yeah. Yeah. If you're gonna start at 4 o'clock, tip off has to be 4 o'clock. You know.
Right? It's kind of like the NBA, but that's the NBA, man. You're not the NBA. You gotta
Yeah.
start on time.
Yeah.
You, it, it's just frustrating to watch, especially
Yeah.
when I'm already staying up late as I can to watch the game. But it is
Right.
what it is. I'll still do it
Mm.
just for the love of the game, really.
Right. Yeah.
Okay,